Hi friends, Kerrie from Konversations at Kerrie's Korner. How are you on this Tuesday? Tuesday in December. We are in full holiday swing and it is cold here in Texas. As you can see, I'm all bundled up today. I wanted to reach out to you today and talk to you about a subject that I'm experiencing. And if I'm experiencing it, I know you're experiencing it, because I think it's a national issue. It may even be a worldwide issue. I'm not sure. I know that it happens in Australia too, so I think it's probably a growing issue. But before we get into it, thanks for joining me today at Conversations at Kerrie's Korner. This is a place where we can start to have in the middle conversations about things so we can get our society back working together, talking to each other, helping each other work through the challenges that we have, and just create dialogue again. We are missing that, and we need it. We need it on all levels. And the U.S. election is really what inspired me and encouraged me to start a podcast, because I just noticed there was no civil conversation at all. You couldn't even have a conversation with people that you've known for years and years about where our political ideology rests. And that was disturbing, really was disturbing. Families should not be torn apart because we have a disagreement on who we believe or who we want to lead. That is just idiotic in my estimation. And so that really inspired me to start a podcast where we could talk about things, create a conversation, because when you do that, that's when real change starts. You've got to learn to communicate with each other about everything in order for us to resolve all the problems we have in our societies. So what I wanted to talk to you today about is the medical industry. I got some serious issues with the medical industry right now. My biggest issue is, why are we doing their jobs? You're probably saying, what are you talking about? Well, when is the last time you could actually pick up the phone and speak to a nurse practitioner about an issue? Or when is the last time you could actually make an appointment for the same week, let alone the same month, to go see your GP because you're not feeling well? So when you can't do that, you're left and delegated to go to these minor emergency clinics where they don't know you from Adam, unless you're there all the time, which is becoming a trend because we cannot get in to see our primary care physicians like we used to. I can remember growing up, we had one doctor, and whenever we had a problem, whether it was stitches, a broken bone, whether we were sick, whether we needed whatever, a physical, we had the flu, we'd go to one doctor. We could pick up the phone, speak to somebody, and get an appointment normally for that day or the next day. This 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 weeks out? When? Why are we doing that? That's the first thing that drives me crazy. Because I want to work with one person for my overall general health. And in the last 3.5 years, I've been seeing the same person because the other clinic that we had, we're too far away from them now. So we switched. Every single time I have an issue, I cannot get in to see anybody. So I either don't go, which is not good, or I go to an emergency clinic, the closest one that I can get in to see within a couple of days, where I don't have to go sit in a waiting room with a bunch of other sick people and pick up whatever else they have on top of what I have. It's just this endless cycle of inability to get to see anybody in a minor emergency situation, or in just any situation where you don't feel good. When did that go away? Why did it go away? What do we do about it? Is there anything we can do about it? Because I don't like it. I'm going to be real honest with you. I do not like it. I do not want to have to go to an emergency clinic when I am sick or have an ear infection, or I have a cut on my finger that potentially needs a stitch, or I've got a broken bone potentially, and I don't want to go sit hour after hour after hour in a hospital. So I have one choice. Go to a minor emergency clinic. And I don't like that. Because every time I call to check to see if the records from that visit are sent to my primary care, oh, guess what? They're not. So she doesn't have any idea what's going on with me. I haven't seen her in 3.5 years. I haven't seen her, I take that back. I haven't seen her since 2 years ago when I went in to have a physical, because when I went in to have the next year's physical, she was on maternity leave, and now she's on maternity leave again. Now, I'm not saying her life has to revolve around her business. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that something's got to give. Something has to give. You either hire somebody to take care of you take care of your clients while you're away, which everyone is entitled to that, or I just leave a practice and I continue to go to the minor emergency clinic, because after almost 9 months now, I've been there 3 times. They now know me. They're basically my primary care physician now, but they can't do physicals. They can't do standard blood work. They can't do all the things that a primary care doctor could do that I can't get done because I can never get in to see her. Does this sound like I'm a hamster on a treadmill and I'm going round and around and around and around chasing my own tail? Yeah, it does. And I don't like it. And I know it's pretty much the standard in the day-to-day care of human beings here in the United States of America. And I know that it goes on in Australia too, except the wait times are even longer because they have socialized medicine. The next thing that just really irks me about the medical industry, my time is valuable. I set an appointment with a doctor on a day and a time. Now, I understand things get out of control, emergencies happen, and they could be running late. But I am not going to show up for an appointment at 1 o'clock and by 2:30 I have not seen the doctor. If that happens, I'm out of there. Sayonara, see you later, because my time is more valuable than waiting for an hour and a half for somebody to show up for an appointment that I had at 1 o'clock. My time is just as valuable as my doctor's time. And if they're running more than an hour late, they should be picking up the phone and saying to you, I'm so sorry, we are really running behind. We might want to reschedule your appointment. Where is the common courtesy? There is none. It's gone. It was flushed down the toilet with all these other things. I am not going to give my time away. I'm a small business owner. My time is valuable. And if the doctors can't stay on time, then I'm so sorry, but I'm not going to continue to come to you because you are always running late. Then you have the audacity to tell me if I have an emergency and it's within 24 hours of my appointment time, you're actually going to charge me a fee because I can't make that appointment. Really? No. I'm not going to agree to that. I won't agree to it. I won't sign the little document that you send me that says if I call and cancel within 24 hours that you're going to charge me a $50 cancellation fee. No, I'm not doing that. And if that's what you require of me, then I will find another doctor, because my time is my time. And you're not going to dictate to me if I have an emergency that I've got to choose between the emergency and a doctor's appointment. You certainly wouldn't, and I'm not going to either. That's the second thing. The third thing that absolutely drives me batty are these apps. My charts, my health records, I don't care what you call them. They communicate with you via a text message or a message in your phone, in your chart. Now, here's an issue. Has anybody thought of this? Because I don't think they have. So if you're in the medical industry, you might want to pay attention here. There are millions of people, I have one in my household, that cannot communicate with you via a cell phone. It is too small. They cannot read on a cell phone. It is too small. There are millions of elderly Americans that don't use cell phones to communicate like that. You have to have somebody in your office the old-fashioned way that picks up the phone and says, "Hi, I'm Kerrie with Dr. Jones's office. How can I help you today?" Is that dead and buried? Because I'm not finding anybody that does that anymore. So what happens to the generations of people who don't want to use a cell phone? Who cannot use a cell phone because it's too small for them to read? What are they supposed to do? Just not get any help? And since when do we process forms? Since when is it our responsibility to process all the forms and then sign them and then send them back? I'm not doing that either. You want me to sign forms? You prepare them. You have them when I show up at your office, and I will happily do them when I show up at your office and sign them then. I'm not going to do your job for you any longer. The doctor's offices are responsible for those things, so it is the doctor's office responsibility to make sure those forms get done and they are ready for me when I show up at the office for my appointment. I'm not going to waste my time before an appointment to organize, download, print, or sign forms that can be done at the doctor's office. Again, my time, my rules, and I'm not going to do your job for you. Do you feel that these things are happening in your world? Because I'm pretty sure they're happening in 90% of the American people's world. I hear it all the time. I am in customer service and have been for over 40 years. And I can tell you the customer service skills that we once had 2 decades ago are long gone. And I'm done with it. I'm not doing somebody else's job for them. I pay damn good money to go to a doctor. I pay my copay. I pay my bills. I have insurance. So guess what? I'm not going to do your job for you any longer. That's the current state of our medical industry, and that's just skirting the top edges of the medical industry. Our medical industry is an absolute total mess. The costs are too high, access is too small, people can't afford it, people are sick, people are dying, and does anybody care? That vow that is taken by a doctor that says no harm, well, they're doing harm because the average American can't get taken care of. So they're violating the oath that they took when they became a doctor. Sorry to say that this is the real state of affairs. And it's getting worse and worse and worse by the day. My husband won't use a cell phone for this reason, because he cannot see any documents that show up on his phone. It is too small, and he's not going to carry around a laptop in his pocket just so doctors can send him notification and notices and forms. Do your job, people. We have got to put our foot down, America, and say, okay, enough. If you're not in America, is this happening where you live? Because I hear from quite a few people in my community, and they all say the same thing. This is a chronic worldwide problem. And in some areas, it's even worse, depending on where we're talking about, the country we're talking about, and the lack of medical care completely for the average population. Where did it all go? Why did it go? Why can we not pick up the phone and say, "Hi, Judy, this is Kerrie. I don't feel good today. I need to come in and I need to see the doctor." Sure, let me see what's available. Well, I can't get you in today, but I could get you in tomorrow morning. Will that work? I cannot tell you the last time I had a conversation with any of my doctors, with maybe the exception of one, that actually communicates with me like that. What a sad commentary. And I know I am not the only person who feels this way. Just about everybody I talk to does. So how do we fix it? Do you have any ideas? If you do, let's share them, and then let's get them to the people that can facilitate change, our city, state, and national representatives. Because it's the only way, guys, that we're going to take back this crazy, out-of-control medical industry that does not care about you and I. I hate to say that, but that's how I honestly feel. After what I have seen and witnessed with myself and my spouse in the last 4 years, do we live in the United States of America or do we live in a third world country? That's the question. And I don't think we all like the answer. I really don't. This is just one of the many societal problems that we have. One of the things that we want to talk about here at Conversations at Kerrie's Korner. And I would love the opportunity for you to respond. Give me your feedback. Let me know what you think, what your suggestions are. Soon, in next year, we're going to have an interactive platform. So we will have guests and we will have the ability to talk to each other about these subjects. Because look, guys, the only way we're going to fix our problems is if we come to the table, sit down, and talk about it. Rationally, calmly, intellectually, and respectfully. I want to leave you a thought, a picture to think about how it used to be, how we used to be able to talk to each other. Do you ever go in your youth, go into these beautiful diners that were dotted all over the American landscape? You could go in, sit down at the bar, have a great cup of coffee, a slice of pie or a pancake, hamburger, a Coke. You could sit down at that bar next to somebody you never met in your life, have this fantastic conversation, and come away with potentially a new friend or a new view on a subject that you just talked about. Because we could have conversations. We could talk to each other. We could express differences of opinions calmly, rationally, without violence. Respecting each other's position, listening to each other's positions, and just maybe influencing change. Because that truly is where change starts, when we come to the middle and we talk to each other. We respect each other. We listen. We've lost that, and we got to get it back. We've got to get it back. We've got to learn to talk to each other again. It's very important. Because if we continue down this cycle of hatred and division and lack of communication and respect, how are we ever going to work out our differences? I don't think we will. So it's a crucial time in our society to come to the middle and talk to each other. I know we can. And I hope Conversations at Kerrie's Korner is a place that starts those conversations again. I hope you have a splendid week. This is podcast number 1 for the week. I am not sure if I'm going to have a second one this week. I do have a pretty serious medical procedure. Now, I'll have 1 this week. I don't know if I'll have 2 next week. I will have 2 this week, but potentially just 1 next week. So look for the second podcast. I got my weeks mixed up. Look for our second podcast this week on Thursday or Friday. And I look forward to hearing from you. Give me some feedback, guys. I would really love to know your opinion so we can share and communicate and start this great American comeback story. Learning to talk to each other. We've got to. It's vitally important for our society and our future. Conversation is the best way to work out our problems. But like I said, it's got to be calmly, rationally, respectfully, intellectually, and nonviolent. I know we can do it. So let's get started. At Conversations at Kerrie's Korner. Have a splendid day, everybody. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you in the next podcast. Take care. God bless, and God bless America.